Hi there boys and girls, my name is Stacey Tapp and I'm the eternal dweller of the grey area. And what is the grey area, you ask? The grey area is that wonderful place where everything is possible as long as you can debate it in a calm and decent way while being polite and backing it off with facts, aka the comment section. Now this bit of an annoying thing happened to me today. I was about to walk out of the office to go to the loo. Everyone was packing up, we were about to leave. Well, said, "Oh Lord." And one of the ladies passed me by and said, "Do not take the Lord's name in vain." Now she meant it in a humorous way. She was smiling and laughing about it. Maybe she meant it a bit in a serious way, but there was nothing very attacky or aggressive about it. So all I answered to that is, I do not believe in God. She's like, "Oh, you don't believe in God?" I answered, "No, I do not. I believe in fact." When I came back from the bathroom, we started talking a little bit about religion versus state laws, religion and its place in society. I politely gave my statement, she politely gave hers, and we had a very nice back and forth. She personally believes in God and does not believe in gay marriage, while I'm the entire opposite, which means we're most likely not to be friends, but that doesn't mean we cannot be polite to each other in the office. Everything was nice. For some reason, two other of the employees, while we were walking out of the office, has decided to invite themselves into our debate. One, let's tell her employee B, while the original lady would be employee A, and then there's employee C. Employee B is agnostic and very, very nice, did not participate in the debate too much, just walked to the same direction as we did. And employee C is a little bit of an ignorant cunt. So, the way that it played itself out is that I was more or less attacked with questions of, well, how can you explain those things that cannot be explained by science? Which ones? Seriously, I requested examples. I'm like, give me one thing that you cannot explain and I cannot explain and scientists cannot explain, and tell me what behind it proves that God has done it. And she could not bring one up. She kept misplacing my words, saying one thing when I obviously meant the other, and just making a huge mess out of everything, which is annoying as fuck. While we're walking down the street, employee A mentioned that she has a family member who was sick multiple times and has been in very dangerous health situations, and he was told that most likely he's going to die. Now the reason why he was told that is a few. First of all, there's always the legal reason. They are not allowed to say, "Oh, you're gonna survive." That's like an open door for lawsuits. If you're a doctor and you promise somebody's health and they did not receive it, you're totally fucking screwed. You are. And the second reason is, and I'm shooting myself in the leg by saying that, medicine is not an exact science. I pretty much dug my own grave saying that in front of employee C, because she just jumped saying, "Haha! You see, science is not exact." And all I wanted was like, this is not what I said. What I said is that medicine was not an exact science. Here, you're saying this again. It's not exact. Science is not exact. No, employee C, this is not what I meant. What I meant is that every person has their own body, their own homeostasis, and their own diet. So we cannot fucking guess exactly what's gonna happen to people who have the same weight, while one person is 90% fat while the other is 90 fucking percent muscle. Every person is different, so each case is a very individual. Hence, when statistic is given, it's given as an estimate because every person is a fucking individual. The girl's a twat. Anyways, she still kept claiming that there are things that we cannot be explained while not giving me an example. Eventually, wonderful employee A told me that she has a 5-year-old cousin who was born premature, 3 months premature, only 6 months in the womb, she came out. And she was tiny as hell, and she was most likely to die. But she didn't, and now she's one of the smartest kids. She's a wonderful growing person. To which I obviously said, first of all, congratulations, that is bloody wonderful. Secondly, I do not know her specific case. Also, I'm not a fucking doctor, so I cannot tell you why she survived. But most likely because of medication. For some kids, you can give them the right medication, it's not gonna help, they're still gonna die, and others not. Because it's a trial and error thing. To which employee C goes, "I wouldn't want to be that kid who you call trial and error. What a horrible thing to say." To which employee A goes, "She was calling the medicine trial and error. And I looked at her and just said, do you even bloody listen to what I'm saying? It's a horrible experience. Then I asked her, so what basically happened? To which employee A told me that she stayed in the hospital for a few months while being taken care of. To which I replied, by science, by medicine. No, she didn't get medicine. She was in an incubator and receiving oxygen, which were made by science. While walking down the stairs into the subway, employee C asked me, so you do not believe in anything? I replied that I do not. Employee B and A said that I believe in science, to which my reply was, science is not a faith, you can't believe in science. But inside my mind, I was like this. It is hard being an atheist nowadays. It is very hard because people look at you differently. The same that they look at you when they find out where you're from, when they find out what kind of people you are attracted to, when they find out that you're basically different, that you grew up differently. Personally, I've been exposed to every bloody religion out there, and I still made my choice. Now, employee A understands that faith is a choice. You either believe it or you do not, and I respect that. But aside from my not so fun debate with my co-workers, who I wish would not be around me that much, let me tell you why and how I became an atheist. Before I begin, I just want to mention that I'm a pretty reasonable person. I am always aware of my status of ignorance and that there is so much out there that I still have to learn. But when it comes to religion, I grew up in a very, very religious country, in a very religious environment with multiple religious people around me that believed in multiple different religions. It was hell. I went to a private French Catholic school, and as dickish as they were towards pretty much everything, they had super duper equality to different religions and they respected your faith. When it was religion class or faith class or whatever they call it nowadays, Christians went to study the New Testament, the Jews went to study the Tanakh, and Muslims went to study the Quran, while the atheists were sent to the library to study things that actually bloody fucking matter. Being the cute little blonde sponge of information that I was, yeah, I'm blonde, I decided to educate myself with all those religions to see what this faith thing is all about and just to give everything a chance. So each year I changed my official religion when I was registered in the school and studied all those things. After exploring my options, I decided religion was pretty much crap. It teaches you barely anything of importance and it doesn't teach you any morals that did not exist beforehand. Now, although I gave up having a specific religion, I still remained agnostic. I kind of believe there was still maybe something out there that controls everything, that we all matter and have a purpose and all that stupid crap. It was only years later that I encountered the logic of science while on my journey towards higher education, and I became an atheist. Logic truly prevailed. So let me explain, and I'm not trying to be a dick about this, but this is how I see people of faith. When I was a kid, I loved Pokemon. I really loved it. I loved it so much that at some point I actually believed that it was real. Until the 6th grade, I dressed up as Ash Ketchum. Needless to say that I grew out of it. For just a moment, imagine I didn't. Imagine for just a moment that I'd walk around dressed up as a Pokemon trainer, throwing Pokeballs at the faces of people who did not share my faith. Now imagine the majority of the world was like this. Now imagine that we dictated all the rules and the laws in this world that all the rest of the people must abide by based on our imaginary world that we believed in. Mad, isn't it? So why do we believe? Well, the answer to that is ignorance. Now hold on! I know that the word ignorance has a bad and hurtful connotation in our society, but the one thing that it actually means is lack of knowledge and information. We're all pretty much ignorant to some extent. Question is, are you satisfied with your ignorance, or are you too curious to just let it be that way? Some people would encounter a problem and explore it. They would seek knowledge and explanation. Their curiosity would drive them forward. But others would simply say, oh well, I don't know how this works, so it must be some sort of God. It boggles my mind how this kind of answer could suffice to anyone. For me, it's the lack of curiosity, the lack of motivation, the lack of the need to know. We are atoms exploring and learning about themselves. Religion is simply laziness. Now don't get me wrong, and I don't want to generalize. I'm talking about the majority here. There is another type of people out there who wear burqas or other symbols of religion and still hold PhDs in astrophysics. These people can compartmentalize these two clashing words, and I find their ability to do so pretty fucking amazing. I call these people unicorns. But aside from that, most people are drawn towards religion by sheer laziness. Every time I speak to somebody who is hesitant of letting go of that little doubt that there might be something out there, they always tell me, well, there are things that you cannot explain in this world. And I keep thinking to myself, what? Because for each example that you can give me, there are a bunch of scientists who had too much spare time or bored and had enough funding to research it. So don't tell me that science can't explain something just because you or I can't. I get it, it's hard coming to terms with the fact that there is no predestined order to things. But isn't it what is so beautiful about this world? What makes it so special isn't meeting somebody randomly and then finding out that you can love this person until the rest of your life, the most marvelous thing ever. The fact that between each case of entropy there are a bunch of cases of serendipity just waiting to happen. Eventually the bonds that hold all these atoms that make me would break apart, and so would yours. One day the sun will explode and we will all be dust. Maybe, just maybe, this dust will travel billions and billions of light years away to form a new planet. Maybe my dust and your dust will come together to form a new creature. Maybe that creature would have 4 hands and 4 arms, or will be Spider-Man or something. That's a cooler afterlife than anything written in any religious book. So here it is. This is my opinion about religion. You can take it, or you can go fuck yourself. So before I go, I just want to put out a small disclaimer out there. I am not a scientist. What I've just described as the afterlife is a rough sketch of how some stuff work. I am still in the process of studying these stuff, and I just wanted to mention that you should take no credible knowledge from this video. This is just a rant about how hard it is to be an atheist nowadays. It's just fucking miserable. People look at you differently. People think that you are less than them just because you think in a more reasonable way, for Christ's sakes. When I was a kid, I believed in Santa Claus, but I grew up. Also, just FYI, this channel is not going to be all about atheism. It's going to be about everything. Atheism does not define me. Having something define you limits the opportunity for change. I am many things, and I will be talking about many things. So if you like my video, awesome. I apologize for the length of it. I will be making them shorter in the future. And this was my first rant, so awesome. If you want me to talk about specific subjects that you find interesting or you want to hear my opinion about, just put it down in the comment section and I'll think about it. Awesome! Chimo.